It is incredibly windy out here, but it is also Sunday, so it's time for the next reading vlog. I have finished The Way of Kings, my first double tome, and oh my gosh, it was just a really, really good ending. I was just crying and happy, and oh, I love this book. I love the series. I gave it 4 stars. I told you it's windy. You can see with my hair flying about everywhere. Um, and I can't wait to get into Words of Radiance. And I'll definitely be reading that first next month. But I highly recommend reading this book if you can be patient enough to wait to feel more grounded, because it takes a while because of how vast the world is. But yeah. This is a gosh dang good book. I then picked up All Systems Red, and I was listening to this as an audio book. I don't have the physical copy on me at the moment, but I will have it for the monthly wrap because I ordered it recently. And it's interesting because the way that this book was described to me was about a robot called Murderbot who was created to murder people, but he's only interested in his soap operas. I can't say that's not true because we do learn this in the book, but to me that premise made it sound like it was going to be a comical sci-fi and that I was going to have a lot of laughs with this book. I don't think I laughed once with this book, and the sci-fi elements just kind of went a bit over my head, so I'm glad in many ways that it was a novella, and you know, listening to it as an audio version, it was just over 3 hours worth of a book, so I was glad for that. And then I was then able to move on to the next thing that I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading Misery by Stephen King because it is the last week of October. I wanted to have a horror and a thriller, and we'll get to the thriller in the next reading vlog, but I'm currently reading Misery, and I am loving this book. This is by far and away my most favourite Stephen King book that I've read so far. I'm just really enjoying everything that I'm getting out of this book. But the basic premise of this book is that we are following a famous author in this world whose name is Paul Sheldon, who has written a very successful series called the Misery series. He then ends up in a car accident, and he is then rescued, quote unquote, by his #1 fan, Miss Annie. And there's a lot more to Miss Annie than meets the eye. This is the kind of book that I could easily consume in a day because it is so enjoyable. It's such an enticing read. It's what we call a page turner. I just want to keep going. I want to lap this book up. I'll come back to you guys again tomorrow and let you know how I'm going, but so far I think this might just be my first Stephen King 5-star book. We'll see how we go. Right now I am 84 pages in, and if it keeps going, my prediction is that this will be my first 5-star for Stephen King. I am still reading Misery, and there, which is 217 pages in, and this book is just getting better and better and better. We have learned, well, okay, what can I say? Miss Annie is crazy, and I love that. I don't think this book is going to give me nightmares anytime soon, but I just think that for me, it's an enjoyable read. I can see why it's a horror, but I would certainly call it a light horror. But I'm trying to look past the genre. I'm trying to look past the fact that this is classified as a horror and just enjoy it for the story that it is, because I made that mistake with Pet Sematary, and so I don't want to do that again here. But yeah, Miss Annie is she's a character, this woman. Wow, there is so much more to Annie than meets the eye. I thought there would be a backstory, and while I'm not surprised that there is, it's much more complex than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be something along the lines of she had a terrible upbringing, and so because of that, that's gotten her to where she is. But no, she has led of life, which is very good at what she does. So I'm really enjoying this book, and again, it just goes to show we don't need a travelling/questing trope for a book to be good, because Paul has not left this house from the moment the book started to where I am now, and it's really intriguing. So my plan for tomorrow is to continue reading on with this book. I don't know if I'm going to have it finished by tomorrow, by the next time you guys see me, or if I'm going to still be going with it. But the book that I plan to pick up after this one is, I'll put it up there, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. So that's a thriller, and so I want to end the month with a horror and a thriller. So we'll see how we go with that one. If I pick that one up when you guys next see me, then I'll have that in my hands. Yeah, well, guess I'll leave that there. Believe it or not, the winds are still howling and gusting outside, so I thought I would just do this update inside, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have calmer breezes and be able to go back out into the beautiful, picturesque, naturistic scene. But I have something to update you on before I update you on my actual reading, and that is that my new Mistborn 2 books have arrived, and I'm so happy. So I don't know if I actually spoke about this on my channel or not, but when I put these books in here, you can see that my Brandon Sanderson shelf is predominantly dominated by the white editions, and I'm just not a fan of that. I am a very colourful person, so I much prefer to have different colours than just white, or really just any colour. I prefer to have all different colours as opposed to just white or just black or just one basic colour. So now I get to take these 3 white books and replace them with the colour US editions. So this is the UK edition of the Alloy of Law, and this is the US edition. So we can slide this book in there. Shadows of Self, this is the UK edition, and this is the US edition. And that one goes in there. Bands of Mourning, and yeah, this is your UK edition, and here is the US edition of the Bands of Mourning. So I'm going to be giving away my white copies of books, but now my Sanderson shelf looks so much more colourful than it did, and I'm really happy about that. My plan at the moment is I'm going to leave Warbreaker as a white cover, because part of the magic system when it comes to Warbreaker has to do with colour, so I can appreciate that that is the white cover. The only other white covers that I have at the moment are Firefight and Calamity, books 2 and 3 of the Reckoners series, respectfully, but I do have the colour versions and hardcover versions of those books on the way, and my Brandon Sanderson shelf has never looked so colourful. Woo! Let's get into what I have been reading. I have now finished Misery, so I read longer today than I usually allow for my reading, with everything else that I need to get done, but that's because by the time I got done with my regular amount of time that I usually put aside, I was that close to the end, I thought I might as well just finish it off. Gosh dang, this book was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Pet Sematary had me going, I don't know if Stephen King is the author for me. I loved this book. It was so good. The ending was, I don't want to give it away because I want to be mindful of spoilers, but I will say this. I feel like there's a tiny bit of a lull between the end of the 3rd quarter and the beginning of the final quarter, but once we really hit that point where we're running home towards the end, the conclusion, the climax is so good. I did not expect it to go the way that it went. Oh my god, so good. This book is awesome. There are some scenes that some people might find to be horrific, so I will put that warning there. But for me, I found that I was able to deal with it. Oh my gosh, I think I might love Stephen King, and I did not think I was going to say that, but I love Misery. It was so good. And Annie, oh my gosh, what a compelling character Annie is, just from what we get, the little we get to know about her in the first quarter when she's first with Paul, to the backstory we find out about her, to just how her mind works with everything that she is doing. Oh my gosh, amazing. So now I'm free to pick up my final book of the month, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. So from the little I know about this book, it is an adult thriller that starts off at a wedding reception. Everyone entered the wedding reception alive, but not everyone is going to leave that way. So it's going to be interesting to see how we go with this. I am really excited to get into this thriller because it just sounds like something that's right up my alley. And then after that, I will be done for the month. So I'm really, really happy. I think all in all, it's been a pretty decent month for me. And I can't wait to discuss all of the books that I've read with you in my monthly wrap-up. Wouldn't you know it, it just so happens to be a really beautiful day out there today, but I don't have time to be going outside to film because I'm right now getting ready to film my November TBR. So being that it's a reading vlog, being that reading vlogs are generally meant to be casual, I'm going to get ready while I give you this update. So I am reading The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is the final book that I'm reading for the month of October, and I am currently there, which is 100 pages in. So now I'm going to get back to preparing while I discuss that book with you guys, because man, do I have thoughts. I have some qualms. Yes, my dears, I have some qualms. The book started off really, really good, you guys. Seriously, we jump right into the action, and we're getting an omniscient view of everyone kind of living in fear because all the lights are out and no one knows what's going on. And then we hear a scream. So, yeah, we're set up for a thrilling ride. And then we jump back into the past. Only 24 hours ago, but still, this book kind of takes a writing style twist and has turned into a then and now book, which is fine. I've read then and now books before, but then after meeting our first character, who is the wedding planner, we then go on to meet 4 other characters. And I very quickly came to realize that this is not just a dual perspective with the writing style of then and now. This is actually a multi-perspective book, and I literally mean multi-perspective because we have alternating chapters between 5 different characters, and we're getting their perspective in their chapters, and it is a then and now as well. So it's a multi-perspective then and now book. I just feel like it's unnecessary. I think if I were to write a thriller mystery, I can understand the multi-perspective writing style because I think it's great. It's a great in-depth way to meet all the characters, all the suspects, as you're trying to work out who did whatever it was that they did. But in this case, having it being multi-perspective and then and now, it just feels like it's a little bit too much as far as I'm concerned. So we have the perspective of the bride, but we don't have the perspective of the groom. We have the perspective of the bridesmaid. We have the perspective of the best man. We have the perspective of the wedding planner, and we have the perspective of the +1, which is rather random. But anyway, it sounds random, and it is. So, yeah, we are learning more about them, and that's wonderful. And so we got the now with chapter 1, and that was so good because, as I said, we got right into the crux of the story, and the tension and everything, the drama, it was just so riveting. But we're now getting to the point where I feel the action is going to begin, because the first 100 pages is more about introducing the reader to all the characters and learning a little bit more about their backstory. So I've read enough that I'm invested in these characters enough. Now I want more action to begin. So I'll come back to you guys again tomorrow and let you know how things are going. But for now, Mr. Francy has to go and film his November TBR. The sun is incredibly bright, which is why I have my sunglasses on for this update. But still reading The Guest List. I'm currently there which is 238 pages in, so not too far away from the end. I'll most likely be finishing this book tomorrow. We are learning so much about our characters, and I'm loving it because the first third of this book was more exposition, but now we're learning more through the show rather than the tell. We're learning things about our characters owing to the actions that they make or the things that they say, and I'm really appreciating that. Especially, oh my goodness, we just had a scene with the bridesmaid. This girl, I think she's like 17, 18, I don't know, something like that, has been overly dramatic this whole time, and she's very much depressed, and because of that there are certain things that she's doing that goes along with that. So I want to put a warning out there that, yeah, she does some things, some bodily harm, let's put it that way, to herself, which to me just felt a bit dramatic. But I found out a little bit more since then about what's gotten her to this stage, and I'm starting to now get where she's coming from. And then we had a massive scene with her just now that, oh my goodness, like, wow. If I'm going to give it a rating right now, it'd be around the 3.5 point for me. So if it is a really good reveal, I will give this book 4 stars. I don't think it deserves 5, but if it's a bad reveal, I mean, then I don't know what I'm going to give it, whether it's going to be 3 or 2 stars. I have finished the guest list. You guys, this was a really good ending. Yep. So the final third of this book was just done so well, and the complaints that I had for parts 1 and a little bit of part 2, like the first third and the second third, they're kind of redundant now. Lucy Foley knows how to wrap up her thrillers, and in the final third, oh my gosh, we work out things that we could never have possibly guessed. But for me, I wasn't really theorizing throughout my time. I started theorizing, I think, in the first third, and then I thought it really could be anyone, so I'm just gonna let that go. And we find out things. It was so good. Who the murderer is, why they are the murderer, the motivations they had, the reasons they had. I don't ever remember reading a thriller or a mystery where I was thinking, yes, kill this person, they deserve it. But at the same time, I'm not only saying that, but moments before that I'm going, oh my god, it's you! Like, this was so good. I really enjoyed myself, and this is the single best thriller mystery that I have read ever. I've started Words of Radiance, and it feels like I was just reading The Way of Kings, and now I'm suddenly, like, 2 seconds later into Words of Radiance, and I think that's a good thing because I already feel grounded in the world, I already feel grounded with the characters, and I'm just really enjoying this read. I am going to go into spoilers, and next week will be spoilers all Words of Radiance, so if you don't want to see spoilers, skip ahead to the time mentioned just down there, and we'll wrap things up together over there. But for those of you who are here for the spoilers, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be back into this world. And we open up with Shallan because this book is meant to have Shallan as the main character, and I can see that. Predominantly we definitely are following Shallan. I'm not that far in, I'm just there, which is 120 pages into Words of Radiance Part 1, so not that far in at all. But Shallan and Princess Yasna are going somewhere. Princess Yasna has done some research to try and help Shallan and her family with coming out from under the situation that they were in the last book, and she's spoken to her mum Navani, and they've both decided that the best thing that Shallan can do is to marry, of all people, Adeline, Mr. Skeptic. I mean, I had a jaw-dropping moment. Like, of all the people, it had to be Adeline. Meanwhile, we're also following Kaladin once more, and oh my gosh, the difference between how Kaladin was treated with High Prince Sadius. Now, I keep saying Saudius, but it's Sadius, so I apologize. High Prince Sadius, and just, yeah, how cruelly he was treated in comparison. High Prince Dalinar is treating him so well. I'm really enjoying being back in this world. I know it's going to take me a long time to get through Words of Radiance, so I just want to enjoy this story for as long as I can before getting into everything else that is coming up. That is where I am going to leave it for this week's reading vlog. Letting you guys go peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll see you next week for spoiler special reading vlog dedicated purely to the Words of Radiance. I'll see you then. Mwah. Happy reading. Bye guys. Bye.